Good evening, you're tuning in to AWANI Tonight with me, Faye Kwan. Civil servants may receive a 15 to 47% pay hike under the revised Public Service Remuneration System or SSPA. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil says the increment will be among the highest for the group and will be distributed starting next week.
Peningkatan pendapatan ataupun gaji bagi penjawat awam dijangka sekitar 15 hingga 47%. Dan peningkatan ini bagi yang kumpulan pelaksana dijangka paling tinggi, manakala bagi kumpulan KSU dan Ketua Pengarah Jabatan Penerangan peningkatannya mungkin lebih sederhana. Ya. Tapi insya-Allah inilah usaha kerajaan madani untuk pastikan penjawat awam akan dapat menikmati kenaikan pendapatan.
As for details on the financial allocation for the civil servants' salary increase, Fahmi said this will be outlined in Budget 2025 that will be tabled in Parliament on October 18th. Fahmi also urged the private sector to register for the Progressive Wage Policy Programme to also take the initiative to increase their workers' salaries. Datuk Sri Shamsul Azri Abu Bakar will be appointed as the new Chief Secretary to the government, effective August 12th. Shamsul, who is currently Director General of the Prime Minister's Department's Public-Private Partnership Unit, will take over the post from Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, whose contract ends on August 10th. In a statement, the Prime Minister's office said that Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim had consented to Shamsul's appointment. Bringing 30 years of experience in the civil service, Shamsul has previously served in the Finance Ministry, the Public Service Department and various state government administrations. The 55-year-old holds a Bachelor of Business Administration from the University of Tulsa in Oklahoma, United States. He also obtained additional training from the University of Cambridge in the UK and the European Institute of Business Administration. Malaysia has proposed including private sectors and startup companies in Thailand's Special Economic Zones (SEZ) to boost investment in these areas. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says the proposal was presented to Thai Foreign Minister Mari Sangiampon in their meeting on Tuesday.
During the meeting, they discussed about the rubber and food industry, as well as Anwar's visit with Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin to Sungai Golok, Thailand and Rantau Panjang, Kelantan on August 3rd. Anwar suggested for Kelantan to build a commercial area along Sungai Golok and discuss dredging the Sungai Golok estuary to address the flood issues faced by both countries. Anwar also expressed Malaysia's commitment towards the Deep South Peace Dialogue, with both countries having agreed for Malaysia to be the host for the 7th annual consultation on September 19th.
The Malaysian Medical Association, or MMA, is calling for a minimum of 98 days of paid maternity leave for public servants to align with the entitlement in the private sector. It urged the Public Services Department to review the General Order on maternity leave for civil servants, which currently ranges from 60 and 90 days. MMA President Dr. Azizan Abdul Aziz said a review was urgently needed to avoid double standards. The government amended the Employment Act 1955 last year to provide up to 98 days of maternity leave for private sector employees. She noted that a reduced maternity leave period could impose undue stress on medical officers and affect the quality of their work. The issue gained attention recently after reports surfaced that the Hulu Langat Health Office had kept maternity leave at 60 days for all medical officers at health clinics in the district. Although Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad reversed this decision by reinstating a 90-day leave period, Dr. Azizan highlighted the need for improved human resource management within the ministry to better protect the welfare of healthcare workers. Nearly 19 million adolescent girls experience intimate partner violence in their relationships by the age of 20, according to a new analysis by the World Health Organization. In Malaysia, nearly 500,000 women experience the same. Firzana Rizwan from Monsters Among Us outlines the factors that enable such violence against women and girls in the country.
One of the biggest contributing factor is definitely the mindset and culture that we believe is our culture. For instance, even the same survey shed some light on the fact that it is deemed as norm or tradition for wives to be beaten, and that's considered acceptable under certain conditions, right? But beyond cultural and societal factors, there's also the role of preventive measures. In Malaysia, anecdotal evidence show that there is definitely a significant lack of comprehensive sexuality education and legal awareness amongst children as well as adults. So we are talking about adults themselves who are not equipped with information and not empowered with realization of their rights, that they too can seek help. And through our work on the ground, working with different communities, many of our young people are already in relationships. Sadly, they may not have enough understanding on the dynamics of what a healthy relationship looks like. So therefore, when they themselves experience emotional abuse, to them, it's not constituted as a form of violence.
Another significant factor, said Frizana, is the lack of access to justice in Malaysia.
Our access to justice in Malaysia, especially for women and those raised as women, is still very poor and weak. Do our people know who to go to? Do our people have enough financial resources to even go through the process, right? So, and going through the process could also subject them to re-traumatization. And this is due to the fact that our law enforcement officers may not have enough skills to respond as effective as possible to a survivor.
Currently, no country is on track to eliminate violence against women and girls, as outlined in the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Frizana emphasizes the need for a comprehensive national response for better protection in Malaysia.
Many CSOs would agree that on a national level, a strong interministerial commitment needs to be put out, involving the Women Ministry, the Health Ministry, Education Ministry, even MCMC and the Finance Ministry, to recognize that gender-based violence is not our culture and it is completely unacceptable in our community. And when you can come up with such a strong messaging coming from the government, then strong frameworks, strong resources will be put into place to respond to cases of intimate partner violence and even gender-based violence more effectively. Secondly, in terms of education, we definitely need to push for a more comprehensive personal safety and sexuality education so that more young people can learn what it's like to be in a healthy relationship. They are equipped with tools so that they can navigate teenhood safely and healthily. And most importantly, once you provide this education, they know who to go to. They know that they have the rights to be supported, and they know that they can seek information from that website, or they can just give a call to Talian Kasih and they know that the government is going to help them. And I think from a more community approach, we need to include boys and those raised as boys in the conversation as well. More often than not, our programs are very much tailored and programmed for women and girls, which is understandable. But it is also very important to include men in the discussion as well, so that they learn how to not become bystanders.
We'll be back with more after the break.
Astro mengucapkan tahniah kepada kontingen Malaysia di atas kejayaan mengagumkan di Sukan Olimpik Paris 2024. Kita mara bersama.
Welcome back. Hamas has named Yahya Sinwar as its new political chief, replacing Ismail Haniyeh, who was assassinated in Iran last week. The group's leadership unanimously chose Sinwar for the role after 2 days of negotiations in Doha. Sinwar, who has served inside the Gaza Strip since 2017, is currently at the top of Israel's most wanted list. He has spent much of his life in Israeli jail, but was among more than 1,000 Palestinian and Israeli Arab prisoners released in the 2011 exchange. The 61-year-old is seen by Tel Aviv as the mastermind behind the October 7th attack by Hamas inside Israeli territory. Sinwar has not been seen in public since October, and Washington believes he is currently in hiding. His appointment comes at a moment of soaring tensions in the Middle East as Iran and its allies threaten retaliation for the killing of Haniyeh, which they blame on Israel. Meanwhile, Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus has been appointed to lead Bangladesh's interim government. The decision was made in a meeting with President Muhammad Shahabuddin, military heads and student leaders.
Shahabuddin said the interim government would be formed soon, but there were few other details, including the role of the military. 84-year-old Yunus has been lauded for his pioneering use of microloans and is credited with lifting millions out of poverty in Bangladesh. However, he is also regarded as a longtime political foe of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who resigned and fled the country on Monday following weeks of unrest. Yunus is currently on bail, appealing against a 6-month jail term in what he called a politically motivated case. Student-led protests in Bangladesh began in early July with demands to abolish quotas in civil service jobs, but later snowballed into a broader anti-government movement that has killed more than 400 people.
British police are bracing for further anti-immigrant riots as far-right groups target asylum and immigration centres across the country. Authorities will also warn that some homes may be attacked after a list of 36 targets circulated online, including migrant-friendly law offices based at residential addresses. Thousands of riot police are being put on standby to deal with any escalation in violence, with immigration lawyers being the primary target for far-right rioters. Specialist immigration law firms and migrant support centres have shut for the day to protect their staff. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Keir Starmer warned that rioters face lengthy jail terms as he attempted to quell the worst outbreak of violence in Britain in 13 years. Over 400 arrests have been made since the violence erupted last week after 3 young girls were killed in a knife attack in northwest England. This triggered a wave of false online claims that misidentified the suspected attacker as an Islamist migrant. Thailand's Constitutional Court has ordered the dissolution of opposition party Move Forward due to its campaign to amend the country's lèse majesté law. The ruling also banned Move Forward's former leader Pitalim Jarunrat and 10 other senior figures from politics for 10 years. The ruling, however, does not mean an end to the reformist movement in Thai politics. The surviving 142 Move Forward MPs are expected to transfer to another registered party and continue their role as the main opposition in parliament. The verdict from the Constitutional Court was expected after its ruling in January that Move Forward's campaign promise to change royal defamation laws was unconstitutional. Next week, the Constitutional Court would decide on a case brought by former senators seeking to dismiss Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin over his appointment of a former convict to cabinet. Srettha has denied wrongdoing and said the appointment was above board. 2 people have died in western Germany after a hotel partially collapsed overnight near the banks of River Moselle. Rescue operations are ongoing as others remain trapped in the building. According to authorities, there were 14 people in the hotel at the time of the collapse. 4 people have been rescued, including a 2-year-old child. The 2-story building became unstable after its upper floor caved in late on Tuesday evening. Police say the cause of the collapse is still unknown. The incident comes during the busy summer season when the region's historic wine valley is frequently crowded with tourists. That wraps up AWANI Tonight. I'm Faye Kwan. Thank you for watching and good night.